But with the back pain, that hurts. And then along comes menopause. I have frozen shoulder and an ankle that I'm never injured, but it hurts.
My doctor at that time said motion is lotion. Just keep moving, walk through that pain.
I'll be honest, for years I hated exercising and I just didn't do it. I'll be honest.
What happens when your body says no, but your heart still wants to move? Did you know, according to the CDC, nearly 1 in 2 women in the US live with a chronic health condition or injury that can limit physical activity? That's profound. And research published in the Journal of Women's Health shows that women are more likely than men to experience exercise-limiting pain or injury. Yet we're often given less guidance on how to adapt our fitness routines. Today, we're changing that because movement isn't off the table, it just looks different. And that difference could be the key to your comeback. So let's say hi to Greg. Greg is the founder of Zero Sweat Fitness, and he is on the phone with us as always to give us his expertise and guidance. Greg, welcome.
Good afternoon, how are you?
We're doing well. So we have Roseanne and Renda here today, and we're just talking a little bit about injuries and illness that has a negative impact on our journey towards fitness and health. And those statistics that I just talked about, they're pretty scary. And I think when we talk a little bit about more of this, women will see that there is a good solution that will really help. So Zero Sweat Fitness. Can you guys share what injury or health concern or challenge that you've faced that has had a negative impact on your ability to do movement or exercise?
I'll go first. In my 20s, I remember having a car accident. I got nailed at the side. I can't even remember. And that really caused me a lot of back pain, which throughout the years, you feel better, but you pick something up wrong or you move the wrong way, it's still there.
So you've never been the same?
Never been the same. Had therapy, helped a little bit, but the back pain never goes away. I even went to the dentist like last week, and as they ran me back to do the teeth cleaning, I got up, could hardly walk out of the dentist's office. And I was comfortable, like I wasn't hurting or anything. So that's plagued me for quite a while. From a health perspective, in my 20s as well, I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So I had to have my thyroid removed.
In your 20s?
In my 20s. And obviously, you're on medication. So your thyroid, everybody knows, controls your hormones, your metabolism. And in your 20s, it's okay. But as you get older, you tend to see, medication doesn't do the same thing that the organ does. And then 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
So thank God I'm able to still move and do stuff. But with the back pain, that hurts. And then along comes menopause. I have frozen shoulder and an ankle that I'm never injured, but it hurts. So there's been a lot of different things from a injury and health perspective, but still trying to move, still trying to, exercise, get some movement in a couple times a week, just because, it's necessary as you get older.
Wow. As if one of those isolated incidents isn't enough to slow you down and prevent you from reaching your health and fitness goals. You've had a countless.
Yep, quite a few.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you're here to talk about
I'm glad
this.
I'm here too.
How about you, Renda? What?
Well, I kind of looking back at my life, I've gotten hurt 4 significant times where we considered a real big injury, and 3 of them where I played varsity college basketball, tore a ligament in my ankle, no PT, no guided exercise after that. That ankle today, I have arthritis in it, and I think I attribute a lot of it because I just did not have the support that I needed to kind of recuperate fully, go back to my total health with recuperating from that injury. That was my freshman year of college. When I was in my late 20s, I broke my leg playing in a co-ed soccer game. I was a halfback, and I blocked that goal kick.
You're quite the athlete.
And the guy, oh, I pretend. So anyway, he kicked through and he caught me on the inside of my shin guard, and I broke my tibia and fibula. And I think that was probably the biggest. I had zero motion movement afterwards, any work with that. The first week they said it, I laid flat on my back in a bed, at the hospital bed. They found that there wasn't any healing occurring in that, the where I had they'd actually displaced. So I changed hospitals and I got a rod in my leg. And I'll never forget afterwards, I was in a leg with a rod, and there was no physical therapy afterwards, no support whatsoever. Hurt my knee as a young adult, walking the dog. It pulled that way after a squirrel, and I was going that way.
And how old were you when that?
Probably 40.
40, okay.
And so hurt my leg. I had a little bit of physical therapy, but it was a joke. It was just some bands, and it just wasn't really, the guy didn't care. I had gotten an order for PT and went, and I thought, well, this is worthless. As that was happening, I remember watching one of my goddaughter tore her MCL playing soccer, and she came home from the hospital with a whole different contraption where she had like this little pack that ice kept it cold, right?
Yes. It's like a machine, and it
right.
keeps the
And she had
circulating.
electrodes on her leg where it would like send pulses, and she healed so much better than I did. It was almost like we got hurt about the same time. I tore a ligament in mine, she tore a ligament in hers, and she did so much better because of the passive activity in her knee. I'm proud to share that I got recruited for an adult swim team, and I swim competitively. And I ended up hurting my shoulder a little bit, but with really good physical therapy and learning how to pull in my whole body and not just my shoulders. I think I'm 19.
We all do.
My body doesn't act
Until we're
like it's
reminded.
19. But I will tell you, I've recuperated a lot better working with a physical therapist who's helping me with small passive things that I could do to stimulate more support for that shoulder system. No one's ever done that with me. So season has started again, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah, the science, Greg, we just talked about this in one of our previous episodes. Knowledge is power, right? And the science and the assistance, you have to have that support and that education to really make progress, especially after injuries as severe as the both of you have experienced. That's incredible. How have you felt like these injuries and illnesses have caused you to modify your plan for fitness and health, and maybe even your goals in general?
I'll be honest, for years I hated exercising and I just didn't do it. I'll be honest.
Unrelated to the...
Yeah, it wasn't anything about my health challenges. It wasn't even the issues with my back. I just
Didn't enjoy it.
didn't enjoy it. And then I had a switch, I don't know what it was, that said, you got to move your body. Like, you just can't sit around and just do, like, you're not going to age well if you do that. Try going to the gym. Had a personal trainer. I think personal trainers are great. You just have to find the one that
right
works
one.
well with you. So then got rid of that personal trainer, and then I would just try to go to the gym and just do stuff on my own. I try to do, stuff at home. And then I found a program that works that I'm still doing, but I still have challenges with my back. So if my back's really in pain, I'll just cancel my class and not go. I try to walk. Sometimes it's not even comfortable to walk. So the illness, the challenges, it does alter the amount of stuff that I do. Sometimes I can go months and have no pain at all. So I'm exercising regularly, and then I
But do you
twist
live
the
in
wrong
fear?
way.
Do you live in fear that you don't know when that pain is going to come
No.
back? Well, that's
When it happens, I just adjust. I'm like, okay, I won't work out because I don't want to make it worse.
because it's been your reality for so long.
Yeah, and I think I've just come to the realization that back pain, and you'll never get back to 100%.
Right.
So I just manage.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kudos to you because you've adapted, but I just can't help but think, Greg, that there is a better way, that we can't just accept that, that we can have a better quality of life. But Renda, how about you? How has all of these injuries impacted your goals and your routine?
I think the one thing I'm struggling with a really sore knee, that it's where I was walking the dog and the dog went that way and I was going that way. And I did go to an orthopedist that time and I got a couple shots of whatever. I think they even called them gold shots or something that they did into that joint or tried to help that ligament. Very short term, didn't last long. And my doctor at that time said, motion is lotion. Just keep moving, walk through that pain. Motion is the lotion. And I appreciate that I needed to stay active and not going dormant, because I went dormant after I broke my leg. Mm-hmm. And that was a really hard time to recuperate. I think that I am physically active. I walk the dog and stay active. I have not been happy with my body. And part of it, what I'm hearing more about is I think cortisol. I think the stress that I'm in as a realtor, the stress that I'm in with family matters has really plagued me. And also an orthopedist told me recently they want to work with me to negate the inflammation that I have in my body.
Wow.
I am taking a slow release 800 milligram ibuprofen 3 times a day.
Whoa.
Around the clock, every 8 hours, to try and icing my shoulder, icing joints, and so forth. I did get an order for physical therapy for my knee, which had been injured about 6 years ago, because it's just not well. And I'm hoping to make the muscle group above and below it stronger. But I think those are the things that plague me right now. I feel like I'm not, okay, I know I'm not 19. I need to warm up with activity before I get in the pool.
Even a 19-year-old should do that.
There you go. And I also, though, realized that I'd like to see what I could do to reduce the cortisol, the stress in my body, so that in turn, what I read is it affects body fat and all that good stuff. So I need guidance.
Greg, okay, we're going to Greg on the phones here. There's so much we're throwing at you right now, talking about how Roseanne has adapted and just accepts sort of those limitations and the frustrations that she's dealing with, and then cortisol being another thing I've heard you talk about quite a bit, and how zero sweat fitness and movement, Renda was saying motion is lotion, but there's also an impact motion has on that cortisol that we battle in our bodies and this inflammation that she's feeling. So I would love to hear you kind of speak on what we can do to tackle these issues.
Yeah, the first issue is a matter of movement, because sometimes, again, we talked about it earlier on a previous episode. We talked about movement and how movement impacts our overall feeling of well-being. And it's tough. I mean, you can become resolved or resigned to the fact that, hey, what can I do about it? And there's a certain sort of acceptance and almost a depression about that. It's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it, and feeling almost defeated. And so motion and movement really helps to that end. If we can go ahead, we find ourselves moving more, we actually end up feeling happier. It's almost kind of like when you see someone at a grocery store and they're uninvolved and they're checking out, let's say, for example. They're checked out while they're checking out.
They're just going through the motions.
They're going through the motions. they're not going to have a good day, as opposed to someone who is going to greet you, and even if it's superficial, but they're going to greet you, the response will be better. And as the body's the same way, the more the body is moving and active, the happier the body is. You have a happier body. And
I've heard
happier
people say releasing endorphins. Is that kind of what you're talking about? The movement is generating these endorphins that tackle the cortisol?
absolutely correct as far as countering that, because we don't want to be taking an NSAID or an anti-inflammatory constantly, because there are repercussions associated with that as well. So I think movement would be good. In Renda's case, I think if we learned how to go ahead and do some simple contractions, i.e. extending the leg and contracting the muscles around the knee, what that helps is it acts as a shock absorber to take out away some of the discomfort of the impact of walking on the knee, and then constantly doing that throughout the day, not just through PT, but doing that on odd times when we're sedentary, we're sitting at our desk, or we're trying to go ahead and put a deal together for real estate. Those are the times to go ahead and do some extensions and do a full extension, contract those muscles around the knee, and then relax and then extend out. But we're constantly extending, but doing things in a proactive way to help facilitate the strength of the muscles around the knee.
And how about Roseanne, when she was saying that her back goes out? For her, in those moments, it seems as though that's it. Okay, the back is out. I accept it. I can't go do what I had planned to do.
Right. Then my first inclination is to say we need to strengthen the muscles around the back as part of the core. And that is a key point. I always tell people it's always about the muscles you can't see when you're looking at a mirror versus the muscles you can see. In other words, it's the posterior chain of muscles behind us. So it's the lower back. I mean, very few people will miss work because they strain their abdominal muscles. Whereas,
I don't think I've ever heard that.
yeah, whereas over 86% of
My
people,
abs.
exactly, whereas 86% of people will miss a day or two of work because of a back strain. So it's the muscle that we can't see when we're looking at the mirror that's more important. So I would definitely encourage her to strengthen the muscles of the lower back. And doctors will always tell you, oh, just go ahead and do some crunches for your abs. Well, that's not the issue. The issue is the lower back, not the abs. And that's what we need to go ahead and strengthen. And that'll ameliorate, if not eliminate, a lot of the problems she's dealing with the lower back.
I'm thinking of this exercise you once taught me, and I'm trying to remember the reason. I, too, have faced a lot of aches and pains and injuries and illnesses over the years. And for the most part, you just sort of accept that, oh, today it's this body part that's not going to cooperate. But I remember Greg telling me at one point to, if I'm sitting, to practice like curving my spine and straightening it. Because immediately, I think sometimes when people say you need to strengthen, your brain goes, oh, I have to go to the gym. And that leads to another series of challenges. But with Zero Sweat Fitness, my understanding is there's ways to do all of these things like we're sitting here now. So we could, if we thought, oh goodness, my back, I need to take better care of my back, we could engage some of these muscles just by curving the spine and straightening and extending. Is that correct? Is there something else?
That is absolutely correct, and it's a very good way of thinking about it. And in addition to that, you can just do, I call them good mornings. So let's say, for example, in Japanese culture, you bow. So a simple bow and coming back up, you're actively engaging the rectus spinae, or the muscles of the lower back. And so that's another good way of doing it. So if you're sedentary, you're sitting at your desk, go ahead and do 15 to 20 of those, okay? And if you need support, then put your hands on your knees and then go forward and come back up so you don't have total stress. And you're also moving, you're also doing a dynamic stretch. The dynamic is a moving stretch. And so you're not forcing the body, but you're allowing the body to do its range of motion. Does that make sense?
Well, I know I personally sit a lot. I sit all day long for various reasons, whether I'm watching TV, I'm eating, or I'm writing an offer for a client, or I'm looking at homes for a client, or I'm sitting here doing the Zero Sweat Fitness talk show. All those times that I'm sitting, I feel like there's so many things as you're talking that I should be doing while I'm talking. I mean, that's powerful because that's a large portion of my life right there.
And there's also a movement that I try to create. It's called the Matrix, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. Have you ever seen a movie?
I have seen that movie.
They dodge bullets by rotating. It's a rotating effect where you rotate. And that's an excellent movement while you're seated for your core, because you're engaging your obliques as well as the rectus abdominis and rectus minor as you're going around and rotating. You can go counterclockwise, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you're at your desk, it doesn't matter. Obviously, you don't want to do that in the conference room.
We could do that in our office, right?
There we
Brenda
go.
and I work in the same office.
Right. But yes, definitely the crux here is to strengthen the muscles of the lower back, key. And so it's very hard to isometrically do that, because you've really got to get some thought into doing that. That's very hard to do, but it's a muscle that I can engage. And after a while of repeated use of, let's say, isotonic exercising, where you're moving and bending and flexing, you can actually learn how to engage while just seated, squeezing those muscles and relax. And it's kind of like what we were talking about with the abs, contracting the abs, pulling the belly button into the spine to create that tension and contraction in the core.
So we can get go ahead.
I do those good mornings at the gym, but I do it with a weight.
Okay.
Is that helpful, or should I get rid of the weight and just do the good mornings?
And that's a very good question. And my question to you is, where's the weight positioned?
Right here.
Okay, you're talking about your chest.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you standing up and?
I'm standing straight, the weight's at my chest, and I'm doing the
How much weight are you using?
25 pounds.
That's a lot. And when you consider the physics of that, because the focal point becomes your lower back, and then there's concerns about your vertebra and that soft jelly-like substance between the vertebra. I don't want that to go the wrong way, because that could be very problematic for you. I would definitely say 20 pounds is a lot, and you've been doing it. I'd rather see you reduce the weight and increase not only range of motion, but the number of repetitions you're doing. So let's say maybe 35 to 40 as opposed to 10 or 15, whatever you're doing. But 20 pounds, if we're doing it and we're thinking in terms of the further the weight or resistance is away from the body at the point of access or where we're moving, the more strain you're putting on that lower back. So it could be having an adverse effect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'll make that adjustment for sure.
So I'm curious, and I think I already know the answer to this because you both seem like strong-willed women, but have you ever been tempted or felt pressure to push through, regardless of the injury or illness? And I'm really curious to hear, you faced cancer twice now. How do you even think about moving with something like that?
I think as I've gotten older, my mentality is I have to move no matter what. And obviously, like I said, in my younger days, you could not drag me to the gym. Like, you can pay me to go. Like, I just was not interested. And I was lucky in my 20s. You didn't have to worry about, I shouldn't say that. Well, weight, because as we get older.
We should have, but we didn't.
Yeah. So you didn't have to worry about that stuff. So not going to the gym then was not a big deal. And then as the years went on, and realization is you need to move your body, because the older you're getting, even though you're not consuming a ton of calories, you're gaining weight. That's not good for your health. And then the breast cancer came. So then that's even more reason to just keep moving.
So it motivated you.
It motivated, and I will not lie, I still don't love the gym, but it's a part of my life. It's necessary. So just say I like the gym.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's probably the time I go at 5 a.m. That's hard too. But it's a part of what I believe I need for my health. The days that my back is really bad, I will not push it at all. I'll just
smart
not
and
go.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I can't walk. Like that. But it's weird. It'll go away after a while without doing anything.
My back has done that. And
Yeah.
I've not been in, I've been in a car accident, but not that damaged my back. So I understand what you mean about it. Like 1 minute you're fine, and the next minute
You're not.
You
for
can't
no
walk.
reason. I could be washing dishes and, my
And it
back is sore. But I won't push myself to go to the gym or work out. I could probably walk, which, try to help myself walk through it. But from a health perspective, with the health challenges that I've had, that's my motivator when I don't want to go at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like,
makes sense.
it's,
You have to take care of your body.
yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm not great with the eating part. So I'm like, I can't be doing both things wrong. So at least let's get up and, do some kind of movement.
Fair enough. Brenda, have you ever been tempted to push through when maybe you shouldn't?
Correct. Yes. There's been an evolution of Renda, which has also helped me to speak my piece. But when I think about being required to move through pain, that's just about every coach in collegiate sports required us to do. And then for me, that I saw that in my life, never questioning authority. I had orthopedists who just would say, take a cast off and go, now walk to me. And it's like, there's no way I could walk, right? He was a sadist. But but then as things evolved, I also had this people pleaser, authority figures, whatever. And I think that what I saw happen with the swimming, I hurt my shoulder. And I also then realized that at first when I got hurt, I felt like I needed to keep moving because I thought, what, that pain that I'm feeling is because I'm exercising new muscles, right? I haven't done that activity for a long time. So that burning sensation.
It must be good.
It must be good, right? So
I can relate to that.
yeah. So I know, and my step as far as conditioning is to get stronger as time goes on. But I really don't care what people think now. I have to listen to my body and do it. I did what they told me to do, and it didn't help me.
Right.
So
It got you where you are.
correct.
Yeah. I think in the ballet world, there's certainly plenty of people in the ballet world who would say push through pain. I had really great, excellent coaches growing up who never said that and always said, know the difference. Got to learn the difference between good pain and bad pain. Not saying we were always successful because we were kids, right? Understanding the difference. But the people pleasing part of at least in the ballet world, most ballet dancers are people pleasers, and the industry kind of nourishes that behavior because you are really taught to give everything and ask for nothing in return. So even though your coach is saying, if it's a bad pain, stop, don't push through it. You don't want to damage your body because your body is your tool. You're a people pleaser, and you know that if you don't show up for that moment, that someone else is getting picked. So that you just learn that behavior as you're growing up. And so, yeah, you end up pushing through and probably causing more damage. And throughout my life, I will wake up randomly and have a different, different ache or pain. And you just go on about your day. And what I love about Zero Sweat Fitness now, and even though I've known about Zero Sweat Fitness for quite a while now, it's just now as I'm aging really starting to hit me about the significance of it, because I feel like the younger Jaime heard it, understood it, but dismissed it like, that's little stuff. I can go to the gym, I can lift weight. Those things are important too, and I still do those things, but now I'm understanding the gravity or the impact that these little movements can do to counter all of my sedentary times. And I'm really beginning to understand the value thanks to Greg and the movement revolution of Zero Sweat Fitness.
So my fidgeting is a good thing.
Your fidgeting is a fantastic
thing.
thing.
Oh, thank you. It is just I've been criticized because like sitting on an airplane for a length of time, I am moving. I am moving. I cannot sit still. And I know I drive people nuts around me, but I can't sit still. So that's a good thing.
That's it.
Yes. No, I was on a flight across from a flight attendant, and she's in the bumper seat, and I'm running in place with my legs, and she looks at me and says, "First flight, huh?" And so I went along with it and said, "Yeah, my first flight," but I am constantly moving. I don't care. I will always move while I'm there. I mean, if you're 13 hours from Atlanta to Hawaii, you better move. You can with a blood
Really?
clot just sitting still.
Really?
Wow.
And one thing I did want to add about movement, there are a lot of people who may say sprain an ankle or something, and then doctors are putting them in a boot. What are you thinking about putting people in a boot? It's horrible because it creates such an imbalance with the body and other problems, back pains, etc. Because we're at different levels as far as the body is concerned, and we're isolating one. We're weakening that muscle. So what happens? We're more prone when that boot comes off to another injury.
To another
The,
injury.
the other leg hurts, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. The boot causes you to walk differently, so the side that wasn't injured
Yeah.
then starts bothering you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So my thing is get off the boot as quickly as you can and really get more engaged with movement.
Yep. I think we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but I was curious in talking about endorphins and movement and keeping our bodies moving while we're sedentary or preventing ourselves from being sedentary. What is the mental or emotional impact of those little movements? Because like I said, I used to quickly dismiss these little movements, but it's not just a physical health, but there is that mental piece that I think we don't talk about enough with movement. Do you guys experience that as well? Like, you maybe haven't tried Zero Sweat Fitness yet. You're a fidgeter though, but
I'm
I
a
think
fidgeter.
I have to believe that contributes to your emotional and mental health as well.
I just read something recently that the recommendation from an ADHD specialist is to chew gum because just that movement of chewing gum helps the brain you have an activity that you're causing. It causes people to calm down and focus better if they chew gum. It's a
That's why
subtle
there's those
difference.
fidgety toys too.
Fidgety toys, that's right.
Fidgeting toys. And I will say, having coached a lot of ballet dancers over the years, in my ballet school, a lot of the girls that I would coach had habits of they would chew their fingers until they would bleed.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they would be bleeding and have to leave the room. And I'm like, how? You're literally chewing your skin off. But it's that anxiety and
Cortisol.
Okay, here's one that I'm guilty of, and my mom is probably rolling her eyes right now, but I chew on the side of my cheek. And it's so terrible because I will do it to a point where it actually starts to hurt. And I think, oh my goodness. And now as I'm in my 40s, I'm going, yeah, and your face is going to start sagging too, Jamie, because you're stretching it out. But yeah, I think learning to channel energies and counter the anxiety and the stress, I think Zero Sweat Fitness is going to be it's going to be bigger than we even realize.
I'm looking forward to incorporating it into my days because I feel guilty on the days I don't go to the gym, but I don't do anything about it. I'm just like,
It just becomes a negative.
yeah, I'll just be mindful of what you eat today. It's Tuesday. You don't normally do anything. But, when my watch goes off that says it's time to stand up, I will do that. So I think that's enough. Obviously it isn't. But if I can incorporate other things, I don't feel as overwhelmed. Like I got to be at the gym 7 days a week. I can still do my 4 days, and then the days that I'm not out in the gym, I'm doing those movements that throughout the day to help.
Yeah,
help the
becoming
body.
more aware of how dangerous the sedentary time is,
Yes.
and realizing how easy it is to fix that.
Yeah.
How easy it is for just to sit here instead of sitting like this to just do this.
Yeah.
Or to just engage your core.
Just be more mindful for
what was
sure.
it? Good mornings that you guys
Yeah.
were talking about, the good morning. Like just to incorporate, there are no wrong
Deep
answers.
squeeze.
Yep.
I want to get, I just listening to this and just the little bit I know about Zero Sweat Fitness, I'm going to go home and get a different chair for sitting in front of the computer. Do you know something that,
idea.
a ball or,
A ball is what I would
is
suggest.
that a
I
good
think I might
thing?
invest in a ball.
Or there's the other chair that I've seen where you sit, I don't know, it's like something out of Sweden where you sit differently, so you have to really use your core to sit.
Because you're on your knees almost.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. So that's a good one, Greg?
Yes.
Okay.
It certainly is. But I would try the ball. It's very inexpensive, about 26, 27 bucks from Walmart or Target. And it will keep you in the upright position.
Great.
A lot of people are using standing desks too. I have not. Occasionally I'll get up from my desk at the office and go to the high top table and stand if I really, because sitting does start to make my hips hurt and knees and everything. But there are more solutions out there. But I think the key is when you do feel stuck in a chair or you don't want to go, if you don't want to get a standing desk, these little movements make it so easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Love it. And so today, let's recap really quickly before we say goodbye to our audience, but we talked about the good mornings, leg extensions, especially for strengthening her knees, even just, she's doing ankle circles, all of these things to just
And
get
you can
blood.
vary the position of the leg, whether it's wanting to hit the muscles inside or outside, by just adjusting your foot position, okay? To get a little more emphasis on the medial aspect or the lateral aspect of the knee.
This has been amazing, and I hope that this has resonated with you guys as much as it has me.
has.
Sure does. Very helpful. I'm
Grateful that-
excited to get moving.
Oh, I love that. Excited to get moving and stay moving. Thank you, Greg, so much for your vision and for getting us to understand that non-exercise activity thermogenesis has to become a key component of our lifestyles.
Thank you. Just call me the Neat Ninja.
The Neat Ninja.
Thank
I love
you.
it. Thanks, guys.